Welcome to Energy Work 101 with Urban Conservatory. I am now going to start my screen sharing. Entire screen. You can watch me fumble around in here as I proceed to present there. Welcome to Energy Work 101. Please, if you... Yes, hide that. Thank you. If you are, if you've stumbled across this on the YouTube channel, there's a link to the Discord server. And if you like this sort of stuff, go over there and join the server, because I promise we don't bite at all. That's against the rules. Energy Work is one of the free, completely, absolutely, totally free courses that is being provided to anybody who feels like it. It's good stuff. The most important thing that I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach it to you in this lesson, because that's how important it is. This lesson, this session, I'm going to go over the syllabus. I'm going to talk about if you're taking this course and you're doing the focus to get your special vanity roll and your pretty color, what I expect of you, what the exercises are for, there are tests, there's all sorts of stuff. I'm going to talk about all of that, but I'm also going to talk about the single most important thing for anyone who's interested in doing witchcraft or the occult or the esoteric or any of this stuff. The single most important thing for you to learn. You're going to learn how to center, ground, and shield, because you should learn it before you do energy work, any of it, after you do energy work, anytime you feel like it. Just do it real fast. The more you practice, the faster you get at it. The faster you are at it, the more stable you'll be. So, this is a live course. I will be interacting with the chat room on the Discord server. You can center, ground, and shield, by the way, on a daily basis. Start your day with it, end your day with it. Every time you feel like it, every time it crosses your mind, oh, I wonder if I should. Yes, you should. Go ahead, have fun, do that. I'm Jennifer. That's my name. I got stuck with it. It's not a family name. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing special. I'm not named after anybody in my family. My mom picked it because she thought it was pretty. It's the single most popular name for women in my age group. I once took a physics course in college that had 5 Jennifers in a row. We went by our last names. See? There's another Jennifer in the chat. For this class, your real life comes first. This is being presented as a completely, absolutely, and totally asynchronous course. This means you can go to the Google Classroom. The code was on the tip of my tongue, and I have forgotten. The classroom code is 25AROMY, and that will get you into the Google Classroom. Everything is put into the Google Classroom. You can join the Discord server. You can ask in the chat. There's absolutely no need for you to actually attend the live courses, except for the part where it's fun and you get the interaction part. Oh good, the chat is already talking about ways to ground. I love it. So, why should you learn about energy work stuff from me? Well, I'm old. I'm not old. I'm middle-aged. I started practicing witchcraft in 1996. I joined the Pagan Student Association of Texas A&M University. I held every position that they held at one point or another, read their entire library, and then I attacked the university library. And when that wasn't enough, I pillaged the local half-price books used bookstore, as well as all of the local stores that sold anything. I've been around for a while. I've been a professional tarot reader. I have dogs. I'm sure you heard that. And cats. I have dabbled in way too much stuff. When it comes to energy work, when I was very young, I had dreams that would come true. So the sight, I still have that. I talk to people who are not quite alive anymore. I can feel energy. I can hear it sometimes. I can sense it. I am clairsentient, clairaudient, and clairvoyant. What else? I'm an empath. Yeah. I have 3 personal planets in Libra, as well as Pluto in Libra, all in the same house. I'm slightly intense. By the time you finish this course, you will have an understanding and appreciation for the fundamentals that make up most of occult and neo-pagan practices. So Kabusto asked, what is your understanding of the term energy in the context of energy work? I'm gonna get to that. Okay. Energy work is anything that involves magic, divination, and worship. The energy that is being moved in energy work is the energy of everything that exists. On a very basic level, Einstein laid it out. Energy equals mass times the square of the speed of light. Energy is very fast matter, and matter is fairly slow energy. In a really, really, really shallow understanding of exactly what E equals mc squared means. As living biological entities, we carry biochemical energy within our cells. The energy that is what differentiates us as living meat creatures from dead meat creatures. The living and the dead and the difference between them, that's energy. Keeping in mind, of course, that even dead things still have energy because they're matter. Yes. Hotel Raven said, I practice archery and it really helps getting me grounded. Plus, it just gets me outside at least once a day. Archery is fantastic. I took archery. I've taken everything, you guys. Archery is great because it helps promote both that connection with the ground, because otherwise you're going to shoot like... And... Dude, I can hear the dog snoring through the headset I'm wearing. It helps promote both a sense of groundedness and also a Zen mindset, which I'm here for it. Symbols. I don't know what your symbols mean. I can't read that. Is it true that it is harmful to get close to dead spirits? Nah. It's not harmful at all. Oh, and Caleb wants to know, do I feel energy as different elements. It can have an elemental connotation, but mostly it's just energy. Energy is just energy. So in this course, we're going to talk mostly about the energy involved in magic. There will be lessons devoted to divination and worship on account of this is energy work. But I'm not going to talk about the different very briefly, the different types of divination that exist. Tarot, runes, casting crystals, scrying, that kind of stuff. We're going to basically list that in worship because that's really deeply personal. And I don't proselytize because I was raised Southern Baptist and therefore it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So we're going to brush past those concepts, and most of this course is going to be focused on the magical side of energy work. Allie says, will there be a lesson involving empaths and how to handle being one or feeling overwhelmed with others' emotions? Honestly, centering, grounding, and shielding is going to help you more than anything else. More than anything else. Being able to identify you versus what you're feeling and what you're picking up from an outside source. That is what centering and grounding and shielding as 3 separate but sequential actions that you will take. That's going to help you more than any other practice when it comes to empathy. Reading for the chat. Okay. Did I miss any questions? If you have a question in the chat room, by the way, put one of those red question mark emojis on there so that I can see it real fast. Otherwise, I might miss it. The history of energy work. So Aleister Crowley said, magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. Ooh, Kabusto bringing the big brain. Kabusto says, right after Crowley, the capacity to do work in super fancy words is the ability to generate fluctuations in the essence of omnipresent fields in physics terms. And the occult version of this is the potential to manifest the essence of various ethers. Yes. The ability to do work is the ability to cause change. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. Now, Crowley's definition does leave an awful lot of stuff open to being called magic that maybe you might disagree about whether or not that is, in fact, magic versus, just like if I'm thirsty, I want a glass of water. Therefore, the science and art of causing change. The change I want is for there to be water in my glass. So I get up and I go to the sink and I get a glass of water. Is that magic? Technically? Kind of. Magic, and thus energy work, is a creative act that is bounded by knowable scientific principles that anyone can use to change themselves and their world. Oh, Silra says that they cannot stay because their emotions are unstable for this right now, and they're not in the right mindset for class. Go forth. I completely understand. Always put yourself, your own emotions, and mental health first. Go. Shoo. Scooch. Leave. Go forth. Kabusto says, think about it. You make your body move with just your mind. See, Squid is putting a smaller box around it. It says, I would consider magic as energy expended to achieve a goal or desire through non-physical or mundane means. And I would argue that magic without the mundane won't work. I almost cussed. It won't work. Magic without that element of the mundane to back it up, it's nowhere near as powerful. Humans make magic happen. The forms in which we create change, the forms in which we do mystical stuff changes, but the end result remains and the process remains. So, fun fact, Hermes Trismegistus may or may not have existed and probably lived in about 1400-ish. But a book was published in 1908 called The Kybalion, which claimed to be the work of Hermes Trismegistus. It probably wasn't. But this gave us the 7 Hermetic laws, which is a very useful framework to use when approaching energy work. We move from, and Cabusto says that Kybalion is cool for most of it. We move from John Dee in the 1500s all the way through to the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. You'll notice Hermetic is a reference to Hermes Trismegistus, which Trismegistus means 3 times wise. Tris for 3 and majestus for wise or majestic. Cabusto says Crowley did eventually amend his art and science of causing change and conformity with will by adding in ways not known to the uninitiated. Just to make that box a little bit smaller. Crowley's also the guy who went to a party he wasn't invited to, held by a person he didn't like. He said he cast a spell to guarantee he would never ever have to speak to that person ever again. And as proof of the fact that his spell worked, he did in fact never ever speak to that person again. Unfortunately, the physical aspect of his spell was to crash a party and go to the dude's bedroom and befoul his bed with excrement. He basically went in and did something nasty on a dude's bed and then was like, see, the fact that I'll never have to speak to him again means my magic worked. So Crowley's got some issues. Crowley had some things going on. Oh, Crowley was his last name. Allie asked what was Crowley's last name so I can look him up without getting the supernatural dude. His full name was Aleister Crowley, and Cabusto just typed it in there so I didn't have to. Thanks. And yes, the guy from Supernatural was named after that Aleister Crowley. Yes. Yes, he was named after that Aleister Crowley. Okay, so the 7 Hermetic principles is laid out in the Kybalion, and you don't have to memorize this or do anything at all with it. If this stuff does not speak to you, sweet, you don't have to use it. It's just interesting. The principle of mentalism. The principle of mentalism is that you can mold and do stuff with energy with your mind. The principle of correspondence. That one comes up a whole lot, and it basically means as above, so below. The principle of correspondence is why people think that astrology affects the real world, because above, below. Correspondence is also why we'll look at like an herb and say, well, what does this correspond to? Oh, that basil, it has an element of fire and it corresponds with Mars and it's used for exorcisms. All of which is true, by the way, in the books. But that's why correspondence is important. The principle of vibration. Everything vibrates, and on a quantum physics level, we know that this is absolutely true. The principle of polarity, which says that there are basically two opposite but equal poles between which everything is stretched. Black and white, good and evil, up and down, that kind of stuff. The principle of rhythm, that is that, and you can quibble about these, the principle of rhythm is that things happen in a rhythmic manner. Which, if things vibrate, yeah, of course it has a rhythm. Duh. The principle of cause and effect, which is one of those principles that's on the level of, yes, apples do tend to fall out of trees. And the principle of gender, which I ignore wholesale on account of, blech. Like, you can seriously mix and match the bits of those that you like. I just talked about all this. Okay. Evidently I got my slides in the wrong order. Oh, and Carly Cat says, in Google, if you type -supernatural with no space after the minus sign, it will remove results with that word in your search results. How fun. That's awesome. Google hack. Me gusta. Cabusto said, principle of gender is just the principle of polarity, and a different rapper proved me wrong. No argument. No argument whatsoever. Raven wanted to know what the principle of mentalism was again. Sorry, I missed it. The principle of mentalism is that you can affect change with your mind. And or through correspondence. That everything that exists in the world also exists in your mind. So making a change in the mental model that you have of the world as it exists causes the world around us to change. And Heisenberg's uncertainty principle certainly does seem to bear that out. Cab says, all is mind. Yes. And this is echoed, BT dubs, through some Vajrayana practices, Tibetan Buddhism, in which everything that exists is considered Maya or illusion, and therefore is a mental construction. It's fun stuff. Everything just winds up circling back around again. It's so good. So John Dee was born in 1527. He studied Hermetic. Hey, Hermes again. Western occultism, because whoever Hermes Trismegistus was in the 1400s. Predates John Dee. A foundational teacher and occultist for the Western occult tradition. Somebody's not muted. Mute yourself. I'm wearing headphones. That was like inside my head. Thank you. Yes, Mars says, I learned to go into work with a positive mindset and telling myself the day would go by fast. And it just does. It's creepy how it works, but it does. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was a late 19th century Western occult order that has roots in the Freemasons, and I will not go off on the Freemasons again. You can listen to the Crystals class if you want to hear me go off on Freemasons. Which has roots in John Dee, which has roots in Hermes Trismegistus, which has roots in... You can just keep going backwards in time. The Golden Dawn and the Ordo Templi Orientalis. Yep. Is the Lema, which gave rise to Gerald Gardner, which gave rise to Wicca. Alright, so this course, that was all the history of it. Most of what I'm going to be teaching you is out of the Western occult tradition. That's why that part was important. I'm not going to be teaching you about the energy traditions of Hinduism. I'm not a member of that religion. And I'm not qualified to teach you about the energy traditions of Hinduism. But I can teach you about Western occult stuff. me see. Did I miss anything? I know people can hear the dog snoring. That is my Shih Tzu. Her name is Smush. She's under the couch and snoring her foolish head off. She's great. She's so loud. Let me check my notes. Make sure I haven't skipped anything. Okay. The written notes contain a whole lot of more detail about energy work and the history of it because I get wordy. I also wanted to mention energy work is one of those things that you really can mess yourself up doing energy work if you don't know what you're doing. In various ways. So, this is our introductory lesson. We're going over a very brief look at the history. Did that. And ground centering and shielding. Next week, you're going to learn about magic. We're going to talk about high and low magic, short-term and long-term spells, ceremonial, kitchen, and chaos magic. For the third lesson, where I'm going to talk to you about how to raise energy. Not just how to... Grounding, centering, and shielding doesn't really involve raising energy. When someone says to you, oh, just put some energy into your spell and activate it. These are the steps. You must raise the energy. You must visualize the energy. You must move the energy where you want it to do. And then the work you ask it to do can be broadly divided into either consecration or banishing. So you're going to learn across lessons 3, 4, 5, and 6 everything you need to know about how to do a spell, how to make your magic actually come to fruition. Because I came up with the idea for this course because I saw a lot of people saying, oh, just banish it, with no explanation of how. How do you do that? Oh, just put energy in it with no, this is how. So, lesson 3, raising energy. Lesson 4, visualization and how to move energy. Lesson 5, consecration. That's going to include empowering, charging, imbuing, and enchanting. Lesson 6 is banishing, cleansing, balancing, and grounding energies. Then we're going to go to 7, synchronicity and divination. Synchronicity touches on the divine, that which is bigger than just you. And that can be the world around you or just you. And then, of course, divination, which is basically synchronicity. I'm sliding worship in there. We're going to talk about worship on a meta level, not this is the specific entity that you should worship, but if you worship, this is the various shapes it could take. And then divination. If you do divination, this is how this variously works. And then an 8, we're going to go back over grounding, centering, and shielding because it's just that darn important. So, that's what you're gonna learn. By the time you're done with all of these lessons, you're gonna be good. Also, for lessons 2 through 8, there are exercises. They are already listed in the syllabus for you to look at. Oh, I forgot. I wasn't scrolling. See, are there questions in the chat? Sans the Pacifist asked, does the principle of rhythm show up in how bad things happen in threes? that one is a combination of just once two bad things happen, now you're primed to look for the third, and synchronicity. It's pretty much exactly what that is. It's like a coincidence, a meaningful coincidence. And no, that's not the principle of rhythm. Maudie says, I don't know what the Freemasons are for serious. A fraternal order that does mystic stuff. That's the shortest possible answer for it. Squid says, wouldn't she be a good Eastern sect of energy work? It would if she is a term that's used by multiple closed societies as well as multiple open societies and cultures. So talking about chi in blanket terms is automatically going to trip you. Kapusto gave the answer to what the Freemasons are. It involves pyramids. Okay. Dangers you can run into with energy work. Oh boy. If you don't learn how to center, ground, and shield, you can create a spell, forget to disconnect yourself from it, turn the spell loose to do its work, and it's going to keep draining you. And then you can, pass out, you can faint, it can make you sick. There's various things that you could do when attempting, say, astral travel or astral work or other world work that can hurt your mind specifically. It's possible to think of it as like an unguided meditation or guided meditation done by somebody really unethical that leads you to... Real world example. I knew somebody way back in college, and this is a very bad idea. Do not do this. Okay? Don't do this. Bad, super bad idea. He decided to cut his astral body, his astral self, in half, creating two of himself, and then send one half of himself around the world to gather knowledge. And when I asked him, oh, has it come back yet? He said he didn't know. He later withdrew from college because he had a psychotic break. So don't do that. There's, that's just one of the things that you could do to hurt yourself. You could decide to do a cord cutting ritual and summon enough energy to actually sever the cords that are on you that you're like, this is binding me to stuff. But if you're not dead certain what that cord leads to, you could be cutting, say, the bond of family love that keeps you attached to your family. Like the thing that makes you love your mom, you could sever that. Or worse. Like there's a whole lot. There's a lot of things you could do. How do you mess up with balance? You mess up your balance. It varies. And that's edging over into the worship aspect, because balance is one of those tricky things to manage. Sam wants to know, can I cover how to use energy without visualization? I'm going to cover a whole lot of different methods of visualization, because some people do suffer from aphantasia, which is a complete inability to close your eyes and visualize a thing and see it in your mind. So I'm going to go over other ways that don't involve doing that. Whee! Alright, back down here. Yes, aphantasia has a name. That's what it is there. Lily's like, what did he mean? He didn't know where his other self went. Yeah, that's why it was bad. Because either it came back and he gave himself a lovely case of dissociative identity disorder, or it didn't come back, in which case he is half a person. You can see why he had some issues. So don't do that. If you cut your astral cord and then die, are you still messed up or do you get a reboot? What's it a cord to? And if you die, are you talking about like reincarnation? Oh. Nevaeh wants to know, is he okay now? I don't know. He never came back to school. Is his other half still just floating around out there? Don't know. No one knows. This is one of those things where I'm like, you can hurt yourself. No, I mean it really. Permanently hurt yourself. Please don't do that. So the single, no, really, honestly, most important thing that you can do. He never came back to school. I know, it sounds like one of those creepypastas, right? Except for the part where talk to the guy. It was the weirdest thing. He didn't feel right. So I was like, are you okay? And he told me the story of what he'd done to himself. And I was like, oh, that's not good, buddy. That's not good. Just don't cut yourself in half. Okay, like, if it involves a knife, maybe no. Centering, grounding, and shielding. It will take you a while to get good and fast at this, but it is worth making the effort to put in the practice to get to where you can center, ground, and shield that fast. Because it's your basic protection exercise. It's also how you rebalance your own energies. It's how you drop any stagnant or negative energy you might happen to be carrying. And it refreshes you as well as puts your shield back up nice, fresh, new, and pretty. And Modi says, reminder that centering and grounding is in some therapy techniques, like in CBT and DBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy. And it helps so much in general. Yes, it does. Rosemary says, are you supposed to ground after meditating? Hopefully after meditating, you're already centered and grounded. So all I would do is make sure that your shield is back up again when it comes to meditation. To center yourself, you're going to bring your mental awareness of your selfness, your mind, your energy, your soul. Think of you. Where are you located in your body right now? Are you mostly behind your eyes, kind of in your head? It's where most people are. We're very head oriented. You're going to bring that down into your body. Bring your awareness. Focus yourself down into your meat flesh, your meaty bits, roughly the middle of your torso, kind of behind your navel, in the center, close to the spine, is a place that will feel inherently just really nice and stable. You'll be more aware of your posture. How are you sitting? What are you doing with your hands? Where are your feet? Do you need to move? Do you need to stretch? Do you need to like twist your back and make stuff pop? You might. Take care of that. Because centering brings your awareness into your body. After you've been meditating or doing astral travel or doing heavy ritual or soul work, you probably aren't very attached to your body at that point. You've been moving lots of energy around. So you bring your attention back to your flesh and out of the clouds back down into your body. Your meaty bits. Everybody's got meaty bits and you should take care of them. Finn says, whoa, the eyeball bit really threw me for a loop and I love it. Symbols says, so we have our own natural shields. Most people do, yes. But you can also create stronger shields. To ground. Lily says, I just realized I resemble a hunchback. Yeah, straighten up. Straighten up. Come on. Get that spine activated. Come on. Stand up. Straighten up. Beanie wants to know, can skin be a shield? Skin is a type of shield. Your skin is your single largest organ in terms of surface area, and it does an admirable job protecting you and all your more wet, meaty bits from the world around you. So yes, but also you need an energy shield as well. Kabustu says, everyone is born with a muscular system, but some people give up their time to improve the capacity of theirs. Yas. And can you make energy armor? That's what a shield is. You're skipping ahead. Ground. Now that you have brought yourself... Oh, is shield the same thing as a ward? Kind of. Sort of. To my mind, a ward is a stationary, mostly stationary, centered on some physical object, powered spell that is not being powered by you. Like, I ward my windows, I ward mirrors, I ward the television, right? Because it's reflective. It's a black mirror, fuck. Sorry. Never mind that. It's a black mirror, so I ward it. Those are shields that still exist, but they don't envelop me. They have a much more focused, localized use. So, Grim Reaper says, it seems like backs are not supposed to be straight. It's not comfy. They're supposed to have a gentle curve to them, not an extreme hunch. Center yourself. Bring your awareness down into your body. Ground. This is one of, and it is a very fantastic, this is a very minor, beginner level, how to get energy. Okay? Because one small tweak turns this visualization technique and mental trick from grounding into raising energy. But all you're going to do right now is just ground. Picture yourself as a tree. You have roots that stretch deep into the earth beneath you, and branches that reach all the way up into the sky above you. The wind blows, and you can feel it through your branches and in your leaves. When rain falls, it refreshes you. You can pull moisture and nutrients up through your roots and into your trunk. The sunlight, the fire of the sun, warms you and provides you with the energy and power that you need. When you are grounded, you are connected with the world around you in an open network. You can move energy from yourself into the world around you and take energy from the world around you into yourself. When you are grounded, you are actively connected to the world. When you are grounded, you are not shielded. A shield is a layer of energy that keeps that which is you separate from the world around you. When you are grounded, you are intimately connected with the world around you and all of its energy. So when you are anxious, ground, drop the anxious energy and pick up some nice, lovely earth energy that's so very calm and quiet and peaceful. When you feel lethargic, ground. Grab some nice breeze energy or some sunshine to really wake yourself up and get yourself going again. To ground allows you to release excess energy. Sometimes that takes the form of anxiety or panic or fear or feeling upset. Any of those, you can drop that energy out and pick up happy, fresh energy. The world around you is a living network of energy. Any energy that you give into the world will be cleansed. It'll get recycled into something better. You can visualize the roots of your tree reaching all the way down into the magma at the center of the earth. Now, if you can't picture that the magma at the center of our planet is powerful enough to deal with whatever negative energy you happen to be holding today, you probably have a slightly inflated idea of how impactful your negative energy is versus the scale of our planet. It can handle it. You can yeet it into space. You can send it to the sun. You can drop it on the moon. You can send it, hey Pluto, catch, and off it goes. You can send that energy anywhere you feel like to be cleansed, to be recycled, to be returned to the cycle of the world. And you can pull energy from anywhere to rebalance yourself, to revitalize and rejuvenate. After you have grounded, after you feel, you're like, I feel better. I've rebalanced my energy with the world around me. You're not pulling in too much excess energy. You're not holding a whole lot. You're not dropping so much out that you're like, ooh, I'm dizzy, I'm going to faint now. No, balanced. Your goal here is balanced, the interconnected network. Now you're going to shield. That which is you separates from an awareness and connection with everything around you. Bring it back down in, back into just you, back into your center, back into your meat, your skin, your edges. Create a wall in your mind that encircles all of you, everything that you are, completely encircled and enmeshed. Most people, when they're starting out creating a shield, it will be thicker around your head, hands, and feet. Because that's where most of us put our awareness of ourself into. It will be thin around your back and butt. It just is. Knowing that means you can correct that. And throughout the day, mentally check in. How's my shield doing? How's my wall doing? And if there's a problem, center, ground, and shield. If you get to where you can do that very, very quickly, it's not a big task to undertake. So let me check for questions that I have missed. Lily says, just to clarify, one cannot be grounded and shielded at the same time. Not really. To be grounded is to be connected to the world around you. To be shielded is to be separate from the world around you. You could try. Maybe poke a tiny hole through your shield. I'm doubtful. I'm dubious. I'm looking for the little red question marks, by the way. If you asked a question and I missed it, put a red question mark on it. I don't want a spine anymore. Says, small story. I was setting up projection, a spell with wards, and this was the first 2 times, and I did many things wrong. I accidentally tied it to me and didn't ground afterwards. The next day I was so drained, tired, and hungry I almost passed out. Also, this happened twice. Some people have to make mistakes more than once before it finally sinks in that, oh, hey, maybe you should not do that. That might be a problem. Sans the Pacifist says, do you recommend sending and using energy from water? And if so, what types? Yeah, if that resonates with you, go for it. The Atlantic Ocean versus the Pacific Ocean, they have different energy vibes. Experiment and see what works best for you. Kabustu says, lol, I once did a spell wrong by banishing instead of summoning. And I had to do another working 2 days later because it really threw me off. Whoops. Beanie wants to know, can you use showers as a yeet method? As a cleansing method? Yes. Using the visualization of water, moving, running, and flowing really can help a whole lot. Yes, absolute. Yes. Sans the Pacifist wants to know, how do you check up on it? It's wrapped around you. If you can't feel it or otherwise sense it, just go ahead and recenter, reground, and reshield. There's absolutely no harm in just be like, well, might as well redo it. And in fact, until you develop the discernment needed to be able to check in on the energy structures that you create and build, so spells, shields, wards, things like that, why not layer up? Do another layer of it. Kabustu says, I did feel moved to apologize to the entity that he accidentally banished. And similarly, Ali asked, how would you know if you need to reshield or reground? If you feel like it, if you feel the need, if you're like, man, I'm really tired, or ugh, my energy's weird. Ground. It's one of the most common answers that I give in the server when somebody asks a question. I'm like, and have you grounded, centered, and shielded? Like, have you done that? Because if not, you should do that. Morg says, what about a conditional shield that reflects some things and lets other types of energy in? Yeah, you can do that. Most people, when they're starting out with practice, just maintaining one simple idea for their shield, that's, a little tricky. You can start to get interesting with your shields. I frequently use multiple layers of shields. Each layer does something different. And usually the outermost layer, when I'm just out among people, the outermost layer is a, don't look at me, I'm nothing special. Just because. It's just, protective camouflage. You can build a shield that is also a glamour, is what I'm saying. Kabustu says, regarding grounding and being protected, I can do it, but always in proportion. To do one takes away from the other, for sure. It's like fighting an actual battle sometimes, keeping your shield up while poking the enemy with your pointy stick. Not an enemy, but things. Yes. Ali says, can you shield a pet? Yes. And Soup Zorg says, will we cover how to sense energy? I can add that. Where would I stick that? Visualization. I'll put that in visualization. Hey, I've reached the bottom again. I think. Oh. Nope. Don't blink at me, tablet. Something about burning string. I don't know what that was in reference to. Squid says, you can't visualize if you can't sense. Well, kind of. It's one of those places where imagination and reality kind of overlap a lot. Okay, so center, ground, and shield. Practice that until you get good at it. Or at least, somewhat competent. And then I've got resources for you. There's some places where I looked stuff up. There's some Wikipedia links because that stuff's fascinating. Follow the resource links in those for more information on the Kabbalion John Dee and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Books that I have actively used while working on this particular lesson. Laurie Cabot's Power of the Witch. Elaine McCoy's Making Magic. And The Spiral Dance from Starhawk. Oh, whee! Hey, look, exactly an hour. I'm so good. Mars says, I can't tell if I have aphantasia or not. Picture an apple. Can you hold an apple in your mind? Can you think of an apple? Can you see it? Because I can. I can see an apple. I can see all sorts of different kinds of apples. I don't have aphantasia. I can mentally see an apple. If you cannot see an apple, you probably have aphantasia. Yols. Kabusto says, always make sure to research the authors of books you read. To be able to sort out the gold from the muck, you need to be able to see the lead and or the gold. Cardinal says, can you hear things in your brain as well? Yes, visualization is going to cover all of your senses. So when I say, can you see an apple? I can also smell it. Like, I know it smells like an apple. I can smell different kinds of apples. If you can't see a thing, but maybe you hear the crunch it makes when you bite into it. Can you feel the way your teeth dig into the skin and then break through and the sudden burst of moisture, the juice of the apple, and it runs down your chin? Can you feel and see all of that? Because somewhere in there, you visualized. Aphantasia is really actually very common, which is why I'm going to go over different visualization techniques. I'm making people want an apple and they don't like them. Don't worry. I'm thinking about, I like gala apples. They're so pretty and they're so good. Little tart. Yum. Okay, so this is lesson number 1 for Energy Work 101 with Urban Conservatory. If you're taking this for your focus course and you want credit for having been here, send me a DM after this course and let me know. I'll add you to a spreadsheet. For every lesson after this, there are exercises. And the way that you prove you attended the course or took in the course information is by doing the exercise and then sharing it with me as a shareable Google Doc. Or if typing is an issue, and I'm going to change this for the crystals course as well if you're also in crystals. If you can't type, draw a picture. Make an art program thing about it. Do a YouTube video, do an audio presentation, do something in whatever method works best for you to show that you've done the exercise. By the time you're done with all of these exercises, you will have a very lovely, sneaky, because I'm sneaky this way, you'll have a head start on creating your own Book of Shadows. Grim Reaper wants to know, what's the exercise today? No exercise today. You learned how to do grounding, centering, and shielding. Therefore, that's what you're gonna do. Do that. Practice that. And send me a DM letting me know that you've been practicing your thing. Doing your stuff. Raven says, our homework is to focus on our meat flesh. Yes. Finn found my sneaky note in the syllabus. Yes. Yes. Alright, see you guys next week. That will be on January 28th. Be there or be square. Thank you guys.